Please welcome back our very own Christopher Judge.
Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday to you, good sir. I was just telling my Hungarian brethren that I am super excited, even more so than I usually am, because this is my very first chance to talk to someone for a second chapter. Really? Yeah. So we are blessed.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
How was yesterday after we had a chance to see each other on stage? I've seen that you had a couple of chances to meet fans. Have you had a chance to look at the beautiful city of Budapest, or was it like, let's just get a good night's sleep?
Let's get a good night's sleep. You know, I used to be able to do the conventions and then after a day go out and have dinner and go carouse in the city and all that, but I'm going to be 62 this year, so I finally learned.
Oh my God!
I finally learned that sleep is important.
The one thing I wanted to ask yesterday.
And then I think Teal'c would try to convince Kratos to try some ice cream.
Yeah, let's go. Every now and then, some of you is trying to hype up the entire room. I think you're doing a good job, but you could do even better. And what is it that they would actually teach to each other? What would be the most important exchange of fatherly knowledge?
I think that Teal'c would be the one kind of advising Kratos, because Kratos is so new to letting his son go and letting him be his own man. But Teal'c has seen Ryak get married, and hopefully if we ever investigate again, maybe he's a father, and having him really seeing what he has taught his son come to fruition. And so I think Teal'c would just kind of be advising him, you're on the right path, just let him go, he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm. What do you think that Teal'c is, how come, in your opinion, that Teal'c is a little bit more advanced from this perspective?
Well, because I did Stargate before I did God of War.
He had more time to get his stuff together, right? You were basically coaching them.
Yes.
And what is it that they would actually disagree on, even with the Ragnarok version of Kratos? Because I do understand that in his stoic journey he's more advanced, but is there something that even in that form they could disagree on?
Well, I think Kratos is more of a...
You can do it. It's okay. We're just amongst ourselves.
I know I was there. I'm just trying to put it tastefully. Kratos is more of a one-woman man than Teal'c. Because as you saw, like through the series of Stargate, you know, Teal'c was with, 5, 6, 7 different women.
The ones that we see.
The ones that we, so I think they would kind of disagree on how much love they would share. Because I think Kratos would be very much, if he was ever even open to finding love again, would be much more about just finding the right woman to be with for the rest of his journey. And Teal'c would be like, lots of galaxies out there.
Lots of stardust to go around. Okay, that's an interesting perspective. But that only happened to Kratos in your version. Your beloved predecessor had to voice a Kratos where, I think that version of Kratos would have made Teal'c blush.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It made me blush.
Was it something that when you took up the character and you looked at the background of it, it was like, are we sure that we are dropping this?
Yeah.
2 minutes?
I actually brought that up.
Really?
So
How did that go?
Well, no, it was very funny because I was like, so let me get this straight. Faye is still around, but she's dead, right? And they were like, well, yeah, but she's still a constant source of companionship for Kratos because she is still guiding not only him but them to what their goal is of spreading her ashes. So, not saying what he'll be in the future, but for right now, his main objective is to spread her ashes and to father his son.
Now, in the first game, Faye is not actually present. There is a presence,
Right.
but not in a physical form.
Right.
And then come Ragnarok, and then they cast probably the perfect woman for the role.
Yes, they did.
And what was the experience realizing when the character whose presence was there in the first game, and you had to imagine her a lot, maybe even have an inner dialogue with her, right? But then she actually comes into form. What was your relationship from your perspective, where you were already in Kratos form?
Well, it was interesting starting with who they cast, because I was a huge fan of Deborah's from True Blood. And so when Corey had gotten to the kind of the short list and Eric had gotten to the short list of who it was, we said, well, we really like Deborah. And I was like, oh my God, she's great. Like, by all, yes, please, yes. And it was an interesting dynamic because I had talked about her for 4 years without knowing who it was going to be or what they had in mind for her. So in Ragnarok, our first day of filming, it had to be like we had been in love this whole time. So it's always really awkward when you're meeting a love interest for the first time, and then your first scene right away is, how much you love each other, and but Deborah is such a professional. We immediately asked if we could just go and talk for a few minutes, and we took each other's hands and we looked into each other's eyes and we just said, I love you. And I returned, and it was just boom, immediate. And she was so prepared and had done so much emotional work that it was a joy.
A huge round of applause to her performance, I think, is in order.
And it's very hard to put yourself in that headspace because we as people are more guarded than that. We are not so easy to expose our hearts to anyone. And so when you have to do it on a professional level, sometimes you don't get along with the person. Sometimes they disgust you. But you
To put it mildly.
Yeah, you have to make believe, but that's always when you can kind of tell, ooh, they really didn't like each other. You know what I mean? But not only did I admire her and admire her talent as an actress, she's a wonderful human being.
I love that.
And like a lot of us, she had just had a baby.
Okay.
And like a lot of our writers, that's why their writing was so informed, because in one form or another, a lot of them had just become fathers for the first time. So that's what just gave their writing such a different perspective.
I remember seeing her in Daredevil and just thinking, oh my God, what an amazing divine feminine power, how she's able to handle Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
There is power to it, but there is also this ability, this skill to coordinate with the masculine, but also being able to put the masculine into the corner where it belongs every now and then.
Right.
And so I saw her in Ragnarok, and I was like, oh my God, I see what they're doing here.
Yep.
What was it like for you to experience this chemistry, her presence, and then feeling like, oh my God, I am fighting with giants and dragons and magicians and gods, and here she comes, and it's over.
Well, she's so good at realizing the power of the character that is opposite her and channeling it correctly. So it was never about Kratos giving up his power. It was about using it in a better way. So as hard as you can fight, that's how hard you can love. You know, and she's just so wonderful at that. And so wonderful at, Kratos could be kind of grumpy. And she would call him on it. And, he would mumble answers to her. And she would call him on it. And call him on not being able to vocalize his emotional life. And she just did it so wonderfully, as she does with every role she plays.
The scene, the flashback scene in which you have a chance to hold a baby and then they are just, not diving around, sorry, my English betrays me. It's not a boat, it's a...
Rowing?
Yeah, they're rowing, thank you so much, sorry. And
English is my first language.
And thanks for being an open book and open vocabulary. I'm going to reassess myself. The intimacy in that scene is on a whole another level. Every now and then when some people still argue if video games are a form of art, I'm like, have you seen this? Have you experienced something like this? What was it like to switch it up from, because there are obviously many great scenes in the game, but I think that was totally different. Was it totally different for you? Am I imagining this, or was there something like an extra touch to it?
Well, it was, once again, just about being open and trusting her, and trusting what she was doing. And if you really choose to play along, I really approached how I prepared for Kratos a lot differently than I did Teal'c. A lot of Teal'c, I would decide, this is how I'm gonna say something. Because so many of Teal'c's lines were non sequiturs to everything else that was non sequitur, were not on the same page as what everyone else was talking about in the same scene. So I could sort of predetermine how I was gonna say stuff. And, but with my scenes as Kratos with Deborah, all I did was learn the lines and let them go. I didn't have any preconceived idea of how the line should be said. I just said, I'm gonna just be open and honest with her and listen, and we could just play together. And she's so good at surprising you with stuff, and she's such a listener that, actors talk about, it's like tennis. So they hit the ball to you, you hit it back.
An ambush.
Sorry. That was just being...
I'm gonna grab my bow and arrow. Can we handle this?
That was just being an American holdover, like, somebody's gonna get me. So, it was kind of the first time in my career that I just let go. Because a lot of acting is about control and fighting for the stakes of your character. And it's really not about being in the moment. So it was one of the first times in my career where I was just in the moment. And I really had no idea how I was gonna say the lines to her. And so we just played back and forth out of each other. So it was incredibly honest. And I think you'd feel that. That's how real it felt in the scenes. And we really didn't know if it was gonna work or not. Because that's so far from the previous iterations of Kratos being vulnerable, you know, being emotionally that available. So we really didn't know if it was gonna work or not. So a lot of the scenes that we shot the first day we worked together were kind of just test scenes to see if it would work.
Okay.
And obviously it did.
It absolutely did. Yeah, let's go. Circling back to this great conversation between Tilk and Kratos, and you're mentioning that Kratos is not easy to open up. But then again, while you are experiencing Ragnarok, there is a certain moment when you realize that, oh my God, in this weird post-traumatic way, he is basically flirting with Freya after a certain point, like just a tiny little bit. Or maybe she's flirting with him. Now,
Well,
shouldn't I?
So, for that to be true, you would have to believe that she has forgiven him for killing her son. So, when they talk about a romance between Kratos and Freya, that to me would always be something that would make it not possible. Because how would you ever forgive someone for killing your son? I know you killed my son, but hello, daddy, you know?
Yeah, but like also saving her life, and I know it's obviously complicated, and this complication is a big theme in the game, and sorry, flirting is kind of disrespectful, that's not the word I'm supposed to use, but there is a certain level of respect, and they start respecting each other in a way, and by the time you reach Valhalla, I just had this sense that they are seeing, like, witnessing each other on a more intimate and deeper level.
I think you hit the nail on the head, and it is about respect. Not only did they save each other's lives, she saved Kratos' son's life. So he doesn't, because I don't think he trusted her before that. And then when he has to kill her son, he is wary of her again because he knows how much that her son meant as much to her as Atreus does to him. And if someone had injured, killed Atreus, there would be no forgiveness, there would just be vengeance. So I think he was very wary of that. And as it progresses, he first goes from, she's letting this go because we have another objective. And then it does, just as you said, evolve into a deeper level of respect and trust. And, but it's not only with her, it's with Brock and Sindri. You know, it's with Mimir. I think that's all of those relationships signified Kratos' journey, you know, and it's all led off by his relationship with Faye. And that's what allows him to open himself up emotionally to everyone else.
We are talking a lot about male identity and manhood, but here we are talking about strong, charismatic, amazing women. And what I love about our culture here at Comic-Con is that if you look around, shout out for all the amazing ladies in the room, what up? So we talked a lot about what makes a man. I think you are capable and trusted to talk on the other gender's behalf. What does it take for a woman to be able to be a strong presence and handle men with such, I don't know what's the best word. You're the English speaker. What's that magic that they are able to cast?
That's actually called woohoo!
What is it that we can say to young women about how to be present, how to handle not just men, just the world, their life?
Just be yourself. No man worth a damn will be afraid of you being a strong woman.
Let's go! And I love that they were able to bring these two little bit different but still strong women characters. And in recent years in pop culture, there was like a lot of debate whether we should have these basic strong women characters, and then a lot of, I don't know, from Captain Marvel to Rey Skywalker, there were a lot of criticism. But every now and then you realize that it's not a gender thing, it's some other thing. And I don't want to get into that.
I think it's important. I think that's very important, what you just said. Because I haven't understood the pushback against female leads. A strong character is a strong character. So are these guys who just, you know, review bomb anything that has a female lead? It's like, are they that insecure in their own masculinity that they can't admire a female protagonist, a female lead? Like you can't admire her because she has different genitalia than you do? Well, either it's really small or non-existent. Were you ever, back in the day, be insecure about your masculinity? Is it something that me as Chris?
Yes.
Oh shit, yeah. Oh man.
Because when we can admire a human being and they are capable of talking about their insecure version, I think there is treasure in it. So I would like to open up that chest. This is something that I would have never had the courage to do if we just had one sit down, but we have the second sit down, baby. So is it okay to reflect on that?
Oh God, yes. So, you know, I've said I'm going to be 62 this year. So a lot of my formative years...
We are having a hard time believing that, by the way, but that's fair.
Well, thank you. A lot of my formative years were in a very different time. So it was late 60s, early to mid 70s. And just like everything else, there's a backlash, right? So we're coming out of the hippie era, coming out of the disco era. And so there was this whole thing about men reclaiming their rightful places as head of the household. And then we segue from the end of the disco era to the glam rock era, where every dude has on more makeup than every woman, and their clothes are more revealing. So it was a really weird time to be a young man. Like my favorite artist of all time is Prince.
You can do it, come on. It's okay. Getting cut is what we do.
But you can imagine, as a heterosexual man, and Prince is your favorite artist, that might send some mixed signals. But it was the dawn of me starting to think differently. Well, it shouldn't be differently. That just like we expect women to be multifaceted, to be able to take care of the home, to be able to support everybody in the home emotionally, to cooking and cleaning, and I've been married twice. The easiest job I had in the marriage was leaving the house and going to work. Because I didn't have to see to the day-to-day. And so a lot of how difficult that is, if a woman chooses that, how difficult it really is. My mother was a working mom who then came home and took care of everything and still did all the cooking, cleaning. So my dad, to me, it's not a very good example because my dad was a bastard. It's true, he was an evil, evil man. But what it gave me was, I don't know who I'm gonna be, but I'm not gonna be like this fucker. And that's what, and just to tie this all back in, I think that's what gave me insight into playing Teal'c and especially Kratos. Because not only did Kratos not want Atreus to follow him in deed, he also, no, I didn't mean indeed. I meant more in his deeds. But he also wanted him to think differently. And I think Kratos is going to be very proud of Atreus' relationship that he's entering into, no matter what it becomes. He sees that Atreus really respects this young woman and is really not threatened by powers. I guess her powers would be the correct terminology, her abilities, but sees how their abilities can work together. And that was a very softly laid out message to men about there can be two strong people running a house, and one doesn't lessen the other. It's like going to a buffet. A buffet is better when there's steak and lobster.
All right. Couldn't take any more.
And so to me, it's like when you have two people, be it a man and a woman, man and a man, woman, whatever that dynamic is, when there's two people that bring full plates, now you've got a meal.
Do you think that we as a society in large are suffering from daddy issues?
Yes. Yes.
Because if
Yes.
I come to think of it, Zeus, not the best. Odin, definitely not the best. And then I look at all these huge universes that are so popular that they can build up. Come Budapest 2026, right? And then you look at Emperor Palpatine, and then you look at Lord Voldemort, and then you look at Thanos and and the list goes on and on. And then you are opening up like that, and I have this sense of, is it really the sins of our fathers, individually and collectively? And if so, what can we do to actually go beyond that?
Well, yes, to answer your question. When you write something, the best writers write about stuff they know about and from their own experience. So you can tell by the examples of fathers that these writers probably didn't have great fathers. So I think, so I've been sober now for 14 years. So, it sucks.
And this is a huge feat, but if you consider that he's here in Hungary, and I'm pretty sure that tons of people offered him palinka, and he was able to avoid palinka. So 14 years without Spartan rage.
Yes. Oh no, well there was some in the beginning. But I had to make a decision that I didn't want to drink anymore. That drinking was detrimental to what I wanted to achieve in my life and who I wanted to be. I made the same decision being a father. I decided that I was going to be a different father than I had, and the cycle of violence and alcoholism and all that was going to stop with me. And it required some work to do it. So to answer your question, we just have to decide that our children are worth us doing the work. You know, and for me, the execution wasn't easy, but the choice was easy.
Okay.
That it had to stop.
I love that. The choice was easy, the execution was hellish. Could we have, so yesterday we talked about unjudged with Chris, like that could be your point.
Not someone's approval I should be seeking, you know, just because he was half of the parenting process. I put that a lot more gently than I was going to.
As a final message, please raise your hand if you're a parent, please. Everybody in the room. A huge round of applause to everybody. And embodying Kratos, if you will, just send a message to them, and that would be our closing for today.
Yeah, man. You can do a lot of stuff in your life, achieve a lot of success, and I will tell you the greatest thing I've ever done is raise my children and have a good relationship with them as adults. Nothing comes close.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Jones! szünet, és utána folytatjuk, maradjatok velünk, és addig lehet a tomboló taps, ezt most még így megérjük.